For centuries, the Salado people perfected the art of pottery, creating vibrant, durable pieces that told their story. Today, we're bringing that ancient tradition back to life with a primitive pottery firing deep in the Arizona desert. Hey guys, I'm out here in the good old Arizona desert today and I'm getting ready to fire up some pottery. But not just any pottery. I'm going to be firing some Salado pottery. And I've called in the big guns today, my good friend Andy Ward.
Hey guys, just come out here to hang out with Will and fire some pottery today. Salado pottery is something that I've been doing for a few years, so hopefully maybe I've got a few tricks that I can teach Will.
This is primitive firing at its finest. No modern kilns, no shortcuts, just raw materials, ancient methods, and a whole lot of experience. Will we get the perfect Salado finish, or will the desert fire have other plans? Let's find out. Before we can fire this pottery, we need the right fuel. Not just any wood will do. Andy is carefully selecting dry mesquite branches. The branches can't be too thick for this type of firing. They need to burn hot and fast. If the fire burns too long, the intense heat will destroy the delicate organic paint on these pots. With our materials gathered, we carry the mesquite branches through the wash to our firing area. As the pile of wood grows, so does the anticipation. This firing has to be done just right.
Yeah, mesquite burns hot and fast. That's exactly what we need for this firing. You don't want a slow burn with this kind of thing. It's the same technique the Salado likely used centuries ago. We have no way of knowing how the ancient Salado potters fired their pottery because no archaeologist has ever excavated an actual Salado pottery firing. So a lot of this is guesswork. But what I've found that works well is a short duration, hot fire so that it comes up fairly fast in temperature and then drops off fairly fast. The problem is we're trying to get organic paint to make black carbon designs. If you fire it too hot or for too long, then you will burn out the carbon in those designs. And where you've painted the designs on the pot, it comes out gray. And so in order to keep those black, we're hoping to reach about 750 or 800 degrees Celsius and a duration of no more than maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So very, very short in duration. And so that temperature has to spike up rapidly and then drop off fairly rapidly as well. And for that, we're using mesquite wood, which is perfect. First of all, mesquite trees grow almost everywhere Salado pottery was made in ancient times. And so it was available to the Salado potters. And secondly, mesquite burns real clean, doesn't put off a lot of smoke and carbon that the pots can then absorb. Also, it burns really hot and fast, which, as I said, is what we're going for here.
The Salado people were masters of their craft, blending cultures, techniques, and traditions from ancestral Puebloans, Mogollon, and Hohokam. Around 1250 AD, they settled in the Tonto Basin, where they built thriving communities along the Salt River. They cultivated crops, wove intricate textiles, and most famously, created stunning polychrome pottery, marked by its bold black, white, and red designs. But like all civilizations, they faced challenges. A changing climate, resource scarcity, and devastating floods eventually forced them to leave the Tonto Basin. Now it's my turn to pitch in. Oh boy, collecting mesquite in the desert isn't as easy as it sounds. Every branch needs to be just right. Dry enough to ignite quickly, but not too thick to extend the burn time. Oh boy, as I search for the right pieces, I can't help but think about how ancient potters once gathered their own fuel, relying on the desert's resources to perfect their craft. To start any successful pottery firing, you need a foundation, and that means building a warm-up fire. Andy carefully selects small dry branches. This will ignite quickly, laying the groundwork for the coals we'll need to bring the pots to the perfect temperature. And it all begins with a spark, literally. The dead grass catches, and the fire roars to life. It starts small, but with each branch added, it grows steadily. This stage is crucial. A slow, controlled burn ensures our pots warm evenly and minimizes the risk of cracking. As these small flames grow, Andy starts to add thin branches to help the fire reach its full potential. Watching this process, it's clear that it isn't just about stacking wood, it's about control. Oh boy, just beautiful. The warm-up fire is now raging. With that fire roaring well, it's time to step it up. Andy starts adding larger branches to build a solid bed of coals. These coals will help sustain the heat needed for the surface firing, giving our pottery the best chance of success. And here's where things get interesting. In a true primitive fashion, Andy breaks a large branch without any modern tools. Oh boy, everything we're using today comes straight from the desert, just as the Salado would have done centuries ago. I think each log is broken to the perfect size for this fire. It's a crucial step. With the larger logs now fueling the fire, we wait for it to grow hotter and more intense. The goal is to create a stable bed of hot coals that will distribute heat evenly during the firing. While Andy keeps the fire going, I return with the buckets I use to carry my pots into the desert. These pots hold a special meaning for me, and seeing them here, ready to fire, makes all the preparation worth it. For these, I used a hematite I collected near Oak Flat for the red pigment, and mesquite sap for the organic paint. Each piece tells a story. 2 pots I crafted, including a bird effigy, and a third pot made by Andy. Rotating the pots is a vital step in the firing process. Andy moves them around like clockwork, ensuring an even warming and reducing the risk of thermal shock. This meticulous attention to detail is what makes primitive firings so challenging, yet so rewarding. Uh-oh, Andy notices a potential issue with one of the jars. The bottom isn't warming evenly. It's the most vulnerable part of the pot, so he carefully rotates it onto its side. The bird effigy pot, however, isn't quite ready for this step, needing more time to heat up safely. Oh boy, this is really cool. As we work, the clouds begin to gather. A storm is brewing a few miles north. Out here, a winter downpour could be disastrous for the firing. But thankfully for now, we're in the clear. It's been a while, but the warm-up fire is nearly complete. It's done its job, creating a steady heat that has warmed the pots gradually. Just a little bit longer, and we'll be ready to move on to the next phase. As I watch Andy's expertise, it becomes clear just how crucial this step is. Rotating the pots ensures an even warm-up and prepares them for the intense heat of the main firing. For the bird jar, Andy selects rocks to support it as it rests on its side. Every move seems so well thought out. The warm-up fire has done its job, but we've overlooked something crucial. Our pottery furniture. These are the rocks that'll hold the pots above the coals. Normally, these would have been preheated with a warm-up fire, but in a rush for preparation, we kind of forgot. And now, we can only hope that they'll withstand the sudden temperature shock. Andy works fast, choosing rocks that look stable enough to handle the heat. One wrong choice, and they could explode under the intense thermal stress. With precision, he places them in the bed of glowing embers, preparing to stack the pots. Oh man, this is always a nerve-wracking moment. Did the temper and the clay do its job? Have the pots warmed up enough to handle what's coming next? This is a make or break point, where success or failure is decided in a matter of moments.
This is the point in the firing where things will start to go bad if we haven't done everything right up to this point. So for example, if we've done something wrong with the clay and there's an inherent weakness in it, this is when it might crack. Also, if we haven't properly preheated the pots before this, then this is the point at which we might start to see cracks or spalls develop in the pots. So even though this is where problems start to arise, unfortunately, when we see those problems, there's not much we can do at this point.
Oh wow. As soon as the pots come closer to the coals, a new sensation fills the air. The unmistakable, rich aroma of mesquite sap burning away. Ah, just beautiful. And now comes the most delicate placement of all, the bird effigy pot. Andy moves with precision, making sure it's resting just right over the hot coals. Uh-oh, but something isn't quite right. The balance, the airflow. Andy isn't satisfied. With careful hands, he makes some adjustments, tweaking the position, fine-tuning the setup. Every detail matters at this stage.
I'm just adjusting this a bit. Without the right support, you'll get a dark spot in there. You won't get good air circulation. A little cover shirt right here will keep that hole open and ensure an even burn. Too bad I didn't bring any cover shirts today. As this burns down, that wood I have stacked over it is going to start falling in. Hot coals are going to start falling on top of the pots. And if this little area in between the pots gets filled up with hot coals, then that'll block that air circulation and we can have a dark area there. So it would be a good idea if I brought one to put a cover shirt right over the top to keep the coals from falling down in this hole and keep that airspace open. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any cover sherds with me today, so we're just gonna have to make do with the way it is.
All right, and now it's perfect. The bird effigy pot is exactly where it needs to be. The final pot is in place. After all this preparation, it's time to see if these pieces will survive the fire. Everything is set, and soon the real test begins. Now Andy starts to carefully stack the wood, building it in a teepee-like structure. This method creates the perfect airflow, allowing the fire to grow steadily and burn efficiently. The pots sit quietly in the center, waiting for the flames to bring them to life.
You gotta keep airflow through it because you're trying to oxidize that. What'll happen is that smectite clay has a super affinity for carbon. It'll suck carbon right out of the atmosphere and turn black really bad. And then if it's not oxidized properly, you'll get these pots out, and even the red areas and stuff might be clean, but that smectite clay will just be all dark because it loves carbon so much, which is really, that's really what we're looking for. That's why it holds onto organic paint, because it loves carbon. So we like the fact that it loves carbon, but we also, if we keep the oxygen away too much in the firing, you end up with black pottery. You've had that, right? Dark pottery. So the trick is to try to allow oxygen, plenty of oxygen from the very beginning, so it oxidizes well. That one's a little on the thick side.
And now the fire stack is fully set up. Oh, this just looks beautiful. Everything is positioned with precision, plenty of breathable space to ensure an even burn. This is the last time we'll see these pots before the fire takes over. Oh man, my anticipation is building. And here Andy adds some dry grass to help jumpstart the combustion. The smallest spark will soon turn into an intense, all-consuming blaze. And just like that, the main fire is now lit. All right. Oh no, though. The brush ignites just a little too fast, and look at these flames. They are just right next to my bird effigy pot. Oh boy. My heart sinks. Did the sudden heat come on too strong, too soon? Oh boy. But now, a new challenge. Despite the intense flames, the fire isn't taking off as it should. Last night's rare winter rain may have left some moisture in the wood. This normally dry desert isn't used to these kind of conditions, and it's making this firing a little unpredictable right now. And time is against us too. We scramble to add more small branches, trying to keep the bed of coals from cooling too much. If we lose too much heat now, we may have trouble with carbon down the road. Every second counts. Oh, but the fire finally ramps up. Oh my goodness. Oh, but there is another problem. Only one side is burning hot. The wind is feeding the flames unevenly, unfortunately, and we need balance. At the current rate, we risk this side burning out a lot faster than the other one, which would create an uneven firing. Andy checks the temperature. We're at 618 already, and it is still climbing. Oh boy, but we're right where we need to be for now. Oh no, yikes! Then out of nowhere, a hole opens up in the fire. Something inside shifted, and we need to patch this fast. Andy quickly throws on some more wood to keep the heat steady. Oh my goodness, what was that popping and banging sound coming from within the fire? Something inside is reacting to the heat. The temperature is pushing into the 690s, and whatever's happening in there, oh boy. We can only hope the pots are holding together, guys. Andy moves again quickly to seal that hole, making sure the fire doesn't lose its intensity. Oh my goodness, we have hit 760C. We are officially in the perfect range. The fire is burning hot and bright, just as it should be.
760 on the duck, and the blacks are phenomenal.
Wow, we have just hit 785. This is incredible heat. The real question is, are the pots inside surviving? This is crazy, guys. The sheer radiating heat from this fire is just overwhelming. Wow. Well, the fire has peaked, and it's beginning to taper out. Now all we can do is wait. Did the pots make it through? Did the organic paint survive? We won't know until the embers cool and the truth is revealed. Oh, but wow, look at this. As we wait for the fire to cool, nature puts on a show of its own. What a stunning storm front rolling across the northern sky. At last, the fire is out. All that remains are glowing embers in our pots, resting in the heart of what was once a raging inferno. Well, this is a good sign. At first glance, they seem intact. No visible cracks yet. And those blacks, absolutely incredible. Oh, wow. This is amazing, guys. Oh boy, but now comes the most nerve-wracking part. Flipping the pots. Even though the fire has died down, the coals are still dangerously hot. A sudden gust of wind could cool them too fast, creating stress fractures along the rim. And every second here matters. Oh boy, and there it is, the bird effigy pot, and it's survived. Oh my goodness, guys. Against the odds, through the heat, fire, and uncertainty, this is what makes primitive firing so exhilarating. You never truly know what you'll get until the very end. Now, we just have to wait for the final transformation. As the pots cool, the iron paint begins to shift, fading from deep black to a rich red. This whole process isn't just about the fire. It's about patience, time, and letting nature take its course. Ah, just beautiful. Look at these bold blacks left from the organic paint. Is this beautiful or what? Oh my goodness, this firing couldn't have gone any better. Wow. And for those explosions we heard earlier, whew, turns out it wasn't a pot after all. One of the support rocks couldn't handle the heat and started to explode inside. I don't think there's anything left of it, but thankfully, it wasn't one of the pots. Wow, guys, this was such an incredible firing for me, and I'm beyond grateful that Andy was here to help me make it happen. If you enjoyed this primitive pottery adventure, be sure to subscribe for more just like it. And don't forget to check out my other pottery videos and lapidary content. I've got plenty more where this one came from.
All right, my friends. Once again, thanks for joining me on this pottery firing adventure. And thank you so much, Andy, for doing the pottery firing. All right, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Till next time.